You know someone like this. Maybe it's a co-worker, maybe it's an old college friend, maybe it's your cousin who never seemed that ambitious, never chased the big promotions, never made the kind of money you make. And yet, somehow, they seem fine, more than fine. They're not stressed about money. They talk about their investment account like it's just a normal part of life. They took a real vacation this year. They might even be talking about retiring early. Meanwhile, you're earning more than you ever have, and you're more financially stressed than you've ever been. How does that happen? There is a specific reason, and once I show it to you, you will never be able to unsee it. My name is Ethan. I make videos about the real mechanics of building wealth. Not the Instagram version, not the motivational poster version, but the actual math and psychology behind why some people build real financial security while others stay stuck, no matter how much they earn. If that's something you want to understand, hit subscribe. And if this video changes how you think about money, and I believe it will, give it a thumbs up. It helps more than you know. Now, let's talk about $500 a month. $500 a month sounds like nothing. In America, that's roughly one car payment. 2 car payments if you made the kind of car decision most people make. It's a gym membership you actually use, plus one you don't, plus a few streaming services, plus eating out 3 times. $500 a month is the kind of money that disappears without anyone noticing. But here is what most people never see because nobody shows them. $500 a month, invested consistently, is worth $1.7 million over 30 years. Not if you find some miracle investment, not if you get lucky with crypto, just an ordinary, boring index fund returning what the stock market has historically returned over the last century. $1,700,000. From $500 a month. That number should stop you cold, because if it's true, and the math is completely verifiable, I'll show you in a minute, then the question isn't why more people aren't doing this. What is stopping them? The answer is something called the wealth thermostat, and it is the single most important financial concept most people will never learn. You know how a thermostat works. You set it to 70 degrees, the room gets too cold, the heat kicks on. No matter what happens outside, the system fights to return the temperature to 70. Always 70. That's what it's programmed for. Your brain does the exact same thing with money. From the time you were a child, watching how your parents talked about money, feeling the stress or the ease around financial decisions, absorbing what normal looked like, your brain was setting its thermostat, its financial set point. And here's the brutal truth. Your brain will spend the rest of your life trying to maintain that temperature. If your income drops below the set point, you feel urgency, stress, motivation, you hustle to get back to normal. But if your income rises above the set point, your brain gets uncomfortable in the other direction. And it quietly, automatically, invisibly finds ways to spend back down to normal. New apartment, better car, more restaurants, more subscriptions, more stuff. Not because you're reckless, because your thermostat is doing exactly what it was built to do. This is why most people can't explain where their money goes. It's not irresponsibility. It's a thermostat set to the wrong temperature. And until you understand that, every raise you ever get will just fund a more expensive version of the same financial stress you have right now. Let me show you this with 2 real people. Well, 2 composite people, but the math is completely real. Meet Jordan. Jordan is 22 years old, fresh out of college, making $38,000 a year at an entry-level job. Not impressive, not Instagram-worthy. Just starting out. Jordan reads something, maybe watches a video like this one, and decides to do one thing differently than everyone else around them. Jordan sets up an automatic transfer of $500 every single month into a simple S&P 500 index fund. And then Jordan does something even harder. Jordan never touches it. Lifestyle stays modest. No upgrading the apartment every time income ticks up. No new car until the old one actually dies. $500 a month, every month, automatic, boring, invisible. Now, meet Tyler. Tyler is 22, same starting point. But Tyler has a plan. Tyler is going to grind, build a career, make real money first, and then invest seriously when the income is there to support it. That makes sense, right? Invest more when you earn more. Tyler grinds. By 35, Tyler is making $90,000 a year, real money, and Tyler starts investing $2,000 a month, 4 times what Jordan invests. Tyler is serious now. Here's the question. At age 55, who has more money? Tyler invested 4 times as much per month. Tyler made nearly twice the salary. Tyler was thoughtful and strategic about timing. And Tyler loses, not by a little. Jordan, the person making less, investing less per month, at a less impressive company, ends up with approximately $1.8 million at 55. Tyler ends up with approximately $980,000. Same age. Tyler almost doubled Jordan's monthly contribution. Tyler loses by nearly $1 million. How? 13 years. Jordan gave their money 13 extra years to compound, and compound interest doesn't add, it multiplies. Every year that passes, the growth isn't on your contributions, it's on everything that was already there. The gains generate gains. In the final 10 years of Jordan's timeline, the investment account generated more wealth automatically without any new contributions than Tyler put in manually over the entire 20-year investing period. This is not a math trick. This is why the most important financial decision you will ever make has nothing to do with which stocks you pick, which broker you use, or how sophisticated your strategy is. The most important financial decision you will ever make is when you start. And the second most important is what you do when your income goes up. Because here's what Tyler did wrong, and what most people do wrong every single time income increased. At $50,000, Tyler upgraded the apartment. Just a little. Made sense at the time. At $65,000, Tyler got a car that matched the new professional image. Reasonable. Responsible even. At $75,000, Tyler started eating at nicer places, taking real vacations, buying clothes that fit the career level, all justifiable, all individually logical. And by $90,000, Tyler's lifestyle had inflated to consume every dollar of every raise, every bonus, every tax refund. The income tripled. The savings rate stayed at 0 for 13 years. And Tyler never noticed, because each individual upgrade made complete sense at the time. This is the invisible tax that nobody warns you about. Not the IRS, not your employer, yourself. Economists call it lifestyle inflation. I call it the thermostat trap, and it will drain more money out of your life than every market crash in history combined. Here's one specific number that will make this real. The average American with a car payment spends $726 per month on their vehicle, payment, insurance, gas, and maintenance. Let's round it to $700. Over a 35-year career, that's $294,000 in cash spent on transportation. That's not nothing, but it's survivable. Here's what's not survivable: the opportunity cost. $700 a month invested for 35 years at a 9% return is $2.1 million. You didn't lose $294,000. You lost $2 million because you chose a depreciating asset that loses 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot, over a boring index fund that doubles roughly every 8 years. The car doesn't feel like a financial decision. It feels like a lifestyle decision. That's the trap. Every lifestyle decision is a financial decision. The person driving the 2019 Honda who maxes their investment account every month isn't sacrificing. They're making a trade, one they fully understand. They're trading a nicer car for an earlier retirement. The person leasing a BMW on a $60,000 salary is also making a trade. They just don't realize it yet. Now, let me tell you something about the set point that most financial videos miss completely. You cannot fix this problem through willpower. You cannot white-knuckle your way to a higher thermostat. Willpower is a finite resource. Every financial decision you make throughout the day depletes it. By the time you're tired, stressed, or sitting on a couch scrolling through your phone, your willpower is gone and your thermostat takes over. The only reliable way to reset your financial thermostat is to remove the decision entirely. This is why automation is not a convenience feature. It is the entire strategy. The moment your paycheck hits, before you see it, before you can rationalize spending it, it moves automatically to your investment account, to your savings, to your future. What your brain doesn't see, your thermostat can't spend. Start with whatever you can. If $500 feels impossible, start with $200. If $200 feels impossible, start with $50. The amount matters less right now than the habit, because the habit rewires the thermostat. Here's what happens physiologically when you do this consistently for about 60 to 90 days. The discomfort of having less available to spend starts to feel normal. The higher balance in your investment account starts to feel like yours, like the floor, not a bonus. Your brain recalibrates. You just turn the thermostat up, and once it's set higher, it fights to stay there, the same way it used to fight to stay at zero. Now I want to talk about something that nobody connects to investing, but should. What your savings account does to your career. When your bank account is thin, when one bad month could unravel everything, you negotiate from fear. You take the bad project because you need the paycheck. You stay in the toxic situation because leaving feels reckless. You say yes when you mean no because no feels too expensive. You don't even know you're doing it. It just feels like being realistic. But the moment you have a real financial cushion, 3 months of expenses, 6 months, a year, something shifts. You stop negotiating from need and start negotiating from choice. You ask for the raise because even if it goes badly, you'll survive. You push back on the unreasonable deadline because your job is not your only option. You leave when it's time to leave, not when you're desperate enough that you'll take anything. That shift in posture communicates itself without words, and people respond to it. Managers, clients, hiring committees. Your savings account doesn't just protect your retirement, it funds your confidence right now. It changes how every room reads you, and the more confident and successful you become at work, the faster you build wealth, the more options you have, the more confident you become. It compounds, just like the money. Let me land this with something simple, because the most powerful truths usually are. The difference between someone who builds real wealth and someone who doesn't is almost never income. It's almost never intelligence. It's almost never luck. Though luck helps, the difference is this. One person decided, consciously, deliberately, once and for all, that their lifestyle would never grow as fast as their income. That's it. That's the whole secret. Every time their income went up, they kept 50% of that increase working for their future. Their lifestyle improved, just slower, and the gap between what they earned and what they spent became the foundation of everything. The person earning $38,000 and investing $500 a month is doing something that the person earning $90,000 and investing nothing cannot do. They are getting wealthier while they sleep. That is the only real definition of financial freedom that matters, not a number in an account, not a retirement age. Freedom is when your money works harder than your anxiety does. You can build that, starting this month, with whatever number you can manage. The thermostat is not permanent. It was built by your environment. It can be rebuilt by your decisions. Turn it up and never let it slide back down. If this video made you think differently about money, share it with one person who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in the next one.